The message popped up on my husband's screen while he was in the shower, and it only said, "Can you delete the proof?" I was standing in our bedroom, holding a pile of clean laundry, trying to decide what could go in the donation bag. His phone was on the nightstand, face up, like it always was. He never used to care if I saw it. It was just a phone. The screen lit up again. Same chat bubble. Same name I did not recognize. No heart emoji, no nickname, nothing soft. Just a short line that made my skin feel cold. I did not touch the phone. I told myself I was not that kind of wife. I told myself it could be work, a client, a mistake, anything normal. Then I heard the shower turn off. I grabbed the laundry basket and walked out like I had not seen a thing. My hands were shaking so much I almost dropped a towel in the hallway. At dinner, he talked about his day like usual. He had a new project, new deadlines, new people. He said his boss was pushing hard. He said he might need to stay late this week. I watched him eat, and I tried to hear his words the way I used to. I tried to feel safe. But the sentence from that message kept playing in my head. Delete the proof. After we cleaned up, he sat on the couch with his laptop. He smiled at something on the screen, quick and quiet, like he was reading a joke. When he noticed me looking, he turned the laptop a little and said, "Just emails." "From who?" I asked, trying to sound normal. He blinked once. "Work." That was the first time I noticed he had started saying that word like it was a wall. Work. End of story. Later, when he went to brush his teeth, I went into our bedroom and looked at his phone from a distance. I did not pick it up. I just stared at it like it might confess on its own. It did not light up again. He came back and slid the phone into the drawer of his nightstand. He used to leave it on the charger. He used to forget it around the house. Now it was always close, and now it disappeared at night. In bed, he turned his back to me and said he was tired. He said it the same way he had been saying it for months. Like it was a final answer. I stared at the ceiling until my eyes hurt. The next morning, he got up early. He showered, shaved, and put on a nicer shirt than usual. He even used cologne, which he had not touched in years. I tried not to react, but I felt my face tighten. "Big meeting?" I asked while making coffee. He avoided my eyes. "Yeah. Something like that." He kissed my cheek, quick, like he was checking a box. Then he left, and I stood there with the mug in my hand, listening to the door click shut. When I looked around the kitchen, everything seemed the same. Our fridge magnets. Our grocery list. The little scratch on the table from when we built the baby chair for my niece. Normal life. But my body did not feel normal. I tried to focus on my own work. I answered emails. I took calls. I stared at my screen. Nothing stayed in my head. Around noon, I remembered something small from last week. I had asked him why his phone was suddenly on silent all the time. He had laughed and said, "You know how it is. Notifications drive me crazy." That same night, he had fallen asleep with the phone under his pillow. I told myself I was overreacting. People get stressed. People change habits. People have privacy. But delete the proof did not sound like privacy. It sounded like fear. That afternoon, I did something I had never done before. I opened our shared bank app. We had always been open about money. It was one of the things I trusted about us. Bills, savings, everything. No secrets. I scanned the recent transactions. Groceries. Utilities. Gas. Then a charge I did not recognize. A small one, but enough to catch my eye. A hotel booking. Not a big resort. Not a vacation. Just a regular hotel in the city. My first thought was that it was a mistake. I clicked it. The date was 2 weeks ago. A weekday. A day he told me he was working late and the subway was delayed, so he got home after midnight. My throat felt tight. I tried to swallow and it did not help. I checked the next transactions. Another hotel charge. Different date. Same place. I sat back in my chair and stared at the wall. When he got home that evening, I forced myself to act normal. I asked about his day. I asked if he wanted dinner. I listened to him talk about work problems I did not care about anymore. He went to the bathroom and left his jacket on a chair. I stared at it for a long time. He had started guarding his phone, but he still forgot other things. He was not careful in every way. My hands were steady when I picked up the jacket. That scared me more than shaking would have. I checked the pockets slowly, like I was looking for loose change. In the inside pocket, I felt a stiff rectangle. Not a card from the office. Not a receipt. I pulled it out and saw a hotel key card. Same hotel name as the bank charges. I did not move for a full minute. I could hear him running water in the bathroom. I could hear him humming a song under his breath, like he was relaxed. I slid the key card back into the pocket exactly where it had been. I put the jacket back on the chair the way it was before. I walked into the kitchen and turned on the kettle even though I did not want tea. When he came out, he looked at me and smiled. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. My voice sounded normal. I hated that I could make it sound normal. That night, he fell asleep fast. His phone was in the drawer again. I lay there wide awake, staring at his back, listening to his breathing. I kept thinking about the message I saw. I kept thinking about that key card. I kept thinking about how many times he had told me he was stuck at work. And I made a decision that felt ugly, but also clear. Tomorrow, I was going to find out what he was doing after he kissed me goodbye. The next morning I did not ask questions. I did not accuse him. I kissed him back, smiled, and watched him leave like nothing was wrong. The second his car pulled away, I grabbed my keys and followed. I kept 2 cars behind him, heart pounding so hard it made my hands feel clumsy on the steering wheel. He did not go toward his office. He took the exit for downtown, the one he never used unless we were going out to dinner. I told myself I was being insane. Then he turned into the exact hotel from the bank charges. He parked in the underground lot. I parked on the street and walked in with my head down, pretending I belonged there. My legs felt weak, but my face stayed calm. I walked past the lobby like I was meeting someone, then stopped near the cafe area where I could see the elevators. A few minutes later, I saw him. He came through the lobby with his phone in his hand, moving fast. He looked around like he was checking who was watching. Then he walked straight to the front desk. My stomach tightened so much I thought I might throw up. I could not hear what he said, but I watched the clerk type and nod. My husband leaned closer, lowered his voice, and slid something across the counter. It looked like a small envelope. The clerk looked down at it, then up at him, and nodded again. Then she handed him a key card. My husband did not go to the elevators. He turned and walked right back out of the hotel. I stood there frozen. If he had a room, why was he leaving? If he was meeting someone, why was he not staying? None of it made sense. I waited until he was gone, then walked to the front desk with a smile that felt glued on. "Hi," I said. "I think my husband booked a room here, but I'm not sure of the details. Could you tell me if there's a reservation for today?" The clerk gave me a polite look that said she had heard this kind of question before. "What's the name?" I said my last name. She typed. Her face did not change, but her eyes flicked up to mine. "Yes. There is." My throat went dry. "Under his name?" She hesitated. "It's under your name." I blinked. "Mine?" "Yes," she said, still calm. "Same last name, first name matches what you just said." I felt the floor shift under me. That can't be right. The clerk kept her voice professional. "Would you like the details?" I nodded, even though every part of me wanted to run. She turned the screen slightly so I could see the booking confirmation. It was my full name. My phone number. My email address. My email. I stared at it like it was a trick. "Can you tell me when it was booked?" 2 weeks ago, she said. And there were 2 previous bookings under the same profile. I forced a small laugh that sounded wrong. "I didn't make those." "I'm sorry," she said, and her tone softened just a little. "You'd need to talk to the manager if you think your account was used without your permission." I stepped away before my face cracked. I walked out of the hotel and sat in my car, hands on the wheel, staring straight ahead. My first thought was that he was using my card. That was bad enough. But this was worse. He was using my identity. I opened my email on my phone and searched the hotel name. Nothing. Then I checked my trash. Nothing. Then I checked spam. There they were. 3 booking confirmations. All addressed to me. All sent weeks ago. All sitting in spam like they had been hidden on purpose. My chest started to ache. I opened the first email. It listed the dates. The room type. The cost. It even had a note in the reservation section. Guest requests, discreet check-in. I stared at those words until my eyes blurred. I drove home on autopilot. I walked into the house and went straight to our shared computer in the office. I logged into my email again, this time on a bigger screen, and checked the settings. There was a rule. Any email containing the hotel name was set to go straight to spam. I did not create that rule. I sat there for a long time, staring at the screen like it might explain itself. My mind ran through every time he had used my laptop. Every time he said his phone died and he needed to check something on mine. Every time he asked, sweet and casual, "What's your password again?" I had given it to him. Because he was my husband. Because I trusted him. I heard the front door open and close. He was home early. I wiped my face, closed the laptop, and walked into the kitchen like I was just making lunch. He came in, loosened his tie, and kissed my forehead. "Hey, how's your day?" "Fine," I said. He opened the fridge and stared at it like he was thinking. "I might have to run out again later." "Where to?" I asked, keeping my voice light. He shrugged. "Work stuff." I nodded like I believed him. Then I said, "Do you know why there are hotel confirmations in my email?" His hand froze on the fridge door. He turned slowly. "What?" "The City Hotel," I said. "The one downtown." For a second his eyes looked empty, like his mind was searching for the fastest lie. Then his face tightened into annoyance. "Why are you looking through my things?" "My things," I said, and my voice shook just a little. "It's my email. My name. My phone number." He scoffed. "You're being dramatic. Did you set a rule in my email to hide them?" I asked. He stared at me, and I watched him decide what version of himself to use. He took a step closer. "Listen. I can explain." "Explain what?" I said. "The hotel rooms booked under my name, or the message I saw on your phone asking you to delete the proof?" His face changed so fast it scared me. Not guilt. Not sadness. Anger. "You went through my phone?" he snapped. "I didn't touch it," I said. "It popped up. I saw it." He leaned in like he wanted to intimidate me. "You don't trust me at all." I felt my hands go cold. "You're the one hiding things." He laughed once, sharp and fake. "You know what, fine. If you're going to act like this, maybe we need some space." "Space," I repeated. "Yeah," he said. "You're spiraling." "I'm not doing this right now." He grabbed his keys from the counter. "I'm going out. Don't start calling me 50 times. I watched him walk out like it was normal. Like he was not using my name to book secret hotel rooms. Like he was not rewriting the story right in front of me. When the door shut, my phone buzzed. A new email hit my inbox. Not spam. It was from the hotel. Subject line, "Request for confirmation." And in the preview text, it said, "We have located an item left in your room. Please confirm if you will be picking it up." I opened the email with my thumb shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. It listed the date of the stay, the room number, and a note that said an item was found by housekeeping after checkout. They did not describe it. They asked me to call the front desk. My first thought was lipstick. A hair clip. A piece of underwear. Something that would make my world simple and awful. Then I saw the date again. It was not one of the days he claimed he was working late. It was last Saturday. Last Saturday we were at my sister's place for my niece's birthday. We were there all afternoon. We took photos. We ate cake. My husband held my niece on his shoulders and laughed like a good man. If he had been in a hotel room after that, it meant he left me at some point. It meant he lied to my face and walked into a different life. My stomach turned. I called the hotel, trying to keep my voice steady. A woman answered. I gave my name. I gave the booking number from the email. "Yes," she said, polite and careful. "We have an item from your last stay. Are you able to pick it up today?" "What item?" I asked. "I'm sorry," she said, "we can't describe it over the phone for privacy reasons. It's at the front desk in a sealed bag. You'll need to show ID." I almost laughed at that. Show ID. My ID. For a room I did not book. "Okay," I said. "I'll come." I drove there with the radio off, knuckles white on the wheel. I kept replaying his face when I mentioned the emails. The way he went straight to anger. The way he tried to make me the problem. At the hotel I walked up to the front desk like I belonged there. The clerk today was a different one. A man with a crisp shirt and a practiced smile. "I'm here about an item left in my room," I said, giving my name. He asked for my ID. I handed it over. It felt like handing him proof that my husband could use me like a mask. He nodded and disappeared into the back. When he returned, he held a clear plastic bag with a red seal across the top. Inside was a small stuffed bunny. The kind you buy for a child. It was pale blue, with floppy ears. The tag was still attached. It looked new. It looked like it had been dropped by accident. I stared at it, confused. "That's it," the clerk said. "It was found under the bed. We log everything. If it belongs to you, you can take it." My mouth went dry. "Can you tell me anything about who stayed in the room?" He gave me a careful look. "I'm sorry. I can't." I held the bag in my hands and walked out to my car. The bunny made no sense. It was not something he would buy. We did not have kids. We had talked about it, years ago, but it never happened. It had been a sore topic. One we stopped touching. I sat in the car and stared at the bunny like it was a clue in a case I never wanted to solve. Then I noticed something else. There was a second item in the bag. A small folded paper, trapped behind the bunny's ear. I pulled the bag closer and read it through the plastic. It was a note. Written in pen. Thank you for last night. Please do not forget what you promised. No name. No heart. No signature. Just that. I drove home with the bag on the passenger seat. Every time I looked at it, my throat tightened. When I got home, his car was not there. Of course it wasn't. I went straight to the office and opened the laptop again. I searched the hotel name in my email. I opened every confirmation and compared the dates. The last Saturday booking was real. I opened our shared calendar and looked at last Saturday. It was marked as my niece's birthday. My husband had been there. I had photos to prove it. So when did he go to the hotel? I checked my own phone photos. Timestamps. We left my sister's house at 6:12 p.m. We got home at 6:48 p.m. We ordered food at 7:30 p.m. We watched a movie. I scrolled through the night. There was a photo of our living room, taken at 8:05 p.m. He was in it, sitting on the couch. Then there was nothing. No photos of him after that. I remembered he had gone to the store during the movie. He said we needed more drinks. He said he would be right back. He was gone for an hour and a half. I had been annoyed. He blamed traffic and a long line. He brought back a bag of random stuff we did not need, like he wanted to prove he had been there. I had believed him. My chest started to hurt. It felt like a weight pressing down. I looked at the receipt he had tossed on the counter that night. I had moved it into the junk drawer without thinking. I pulled open the drawer now and dug through old batteries and takeout menus until I found it. The receipt time was 10:03 p.m. If he was at the store at 10:03, then where was he before that? I stared at the bunny again. The note. Please do not forget what you promised. My mind went to one place I did not want it to go. A child. I grabbed the bag and went to the bedroom closet. I dug through his jackets again, slower this time. More careful. I checked every pocket. In the inside pocket of his nicer coat, I found another hotel key card. Not the same one as before. A different date written in tiny pen on the back. I checked his wallet next. It was on the dresser. He usually kept it in his pocket, but he was careless when he was angry. He had stormed out and left things behind. I opened it and flipped through the cards. Behind his credit card was a folded piece of paper. Small. Tucked like he didn't want it to be seen. My hand shook as I pulled it out. It was a printed ultrasound photo. Black and white. Grainy. A date in the corner. A clinic name. And 2 words written on the bottom in neat handwriting. For him. My vision went blurry. I sat on the edge of the bed, holding it like it was something dirty. I heard the front door open downstairs. His footsteps. His keys on the counter. He was back. I had seconds to decide what to do with what I'd found. I folded the ultrasound and slid it back into his wallet exactly where it was. I put the wallet back on the dresser. I took the bunny bag and shoved it into my closet under a stack of towels. Then I walked downstairs. He was in the kitchen, pouring himself a glass of water like nothing was wrong. He looked tired. He looked irritated. He looked like a man who believed he could control the story. You went quiet, he said, not even looking at me. You calmed down? I leaned against the doorway and stared at him. I went to the hotel, I said. His hand stopped mid-pour. The water overflowed a little and ran onto the counter. He set the glass down slowly. Why would you do that? Because you booked rooms under my name, I said. And they contacted me. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he did something that made my blood run cold. He smiled. Not a warm smile. Not a nervous one. A smile like he had decided he didn't need to pretend anymore. You shouldn't have done that, he said quietly. Now you've made it messy. I felt my heart slam in my chest. What is messy? He stepped closer, lowering his voice. You want the truth. Fine. But you're not going to like what the truth costs. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. He tapped the screen a few times, calm as anything. He turned it toward me. On the screen was a chat thread. And the last message, sent just minutes ago, said, she knows. Be ready. I stared at the message like it was a threat that could jump out of the screen. Be ready for what? I asked. He pulled the phone back and slipped it into his pocket. For you to stop acting like a victim. My hands were clenched so tight my nails hurt. Who is she? He walked past me and sat at the kitchen table like he owned the room. Like he owned me. You're not going to yell. You're not going to throw things. And you're not going to call anyone until I'm done talking. I laughed once, but it came out shaky. You don't get to give me rules right now. He leaned back in the chair, calm. Too calm. You're right. I don't get to. But I am anyway. I took a step closer. Tell me who she is. He rubbed his forehead like I was exhausting him. She's someone I care about. I felt my throat tighten. You care about her. Enough to book hotels under my name. He shrugged. It was easier. You never check anything. That sentence hit harder than any confession. He said it like a fact. Like my trust was just a tool he used. I swallowed. Is she pregnant? His eyes flicked up fast. For the first time, something like worry crossed his face. I watched it happen. I felt it in my bones. You went through my wallet, he said, voice low. I did not deny it. I did not apologize. Is she? He stared at me, and for a second he looked like a stranger. Then he exhaled like he was tired of lying. Yes, he said. My ears rang. The kitchen felt too bright. Too quiet. How long? He looked away. It doesn't matter. It matters to me, I said, and my voice cracked. How long have you been doing this? He tapped his fingers on the table. A while. A while, I repeated, bitter. And the bunny. The note. That was hers. He nodded once. I took a step back because I thought my legs might give out. So what? You just planned to have a baby with her and keep me here like nothing. His jaw tightened. It's not that simple. It is that simple, I said. You cheated. You lied. You used my name. He stood up quickly, like he didn't like the word cheated. Stop. You don't get to paint me like some monster. I stared at him. You are a monster. His face hardened. I'm not the one who couldn't give us a family. That was the moment my whole body went cold. I had expected him to blame stress. To blame work. To blame distance. I had not expected him to take the one wound we both knew about and press his thumb into it. I could barely breathe. You promised you would never say that to me. He looked right at me. And you promised you wouldn't snoop. Look how that worked out. I felt tears push up fast, hot, humiliating. I wiped them away with the back of my hand. So you got her pregnant because you're punishing me. He shook his head like I was stupid. No. I got her pregnant because she actually wants a life. She actually understands me. I let out a sound that wasn't quite a laugh. You met her at work. He didn't answer. He didn't have to. And you've been using my email because you're too cowardly to book rooms under your own name, I said. He walked to the counter and grabbed his keys again. I'm not going to sit here and be insulted. Then tell me, I said. What do you want? He paused, facing the door. I want this handled cleanly. My stomach sank. Cleanly. He turned slightly. No drama. No scene. No posts online. No calling my mother. No talking to my boss. I want a divorce that doesn't ruin my life. I stared at him. And her. His voice was flat. She's keeping the baby. I'm going to be involved. I felt like my lungs were not working right. So I'm just supposed to step aside. He nodded like it was obvious. You'll be fine. You have your job. Your friends. You'll bounce back. I stepped toward him. You booked hotels under my name. That's not just cheating. That's fraud. His face tightened. Don't start. I'm not starting, I said. I'm finishing. He looked at me for a long moment, then his voice dropped. You really want to go there? Fine. He pulled his phone out again. He tapped, swiped, then held it up. It was a photo. At first I didn't understand what I was looking at. Then my stomach dropped. It was me. I was in our bedroom. I was asleep. My hair messy. My face relaxed in a way I did not recognize anymore. The photo was taken close enough that it felt like someone was standing right over me. Then he swiped to the next one. It was a picture of my laptop screen. My email open. My banking app open. My passwords. My skin crawled. Why do you have those? He stared at me like he was teaching a lesson. Because you're not the only one who can look through things. My voice came out small. Are you threatening me? He lowered the phone. I'm telling you to be smart. Smart, I repeated. What does smart mean to you? It means you don't try to destroy me, he said. Because if you do, you're going to get destroyed too. My hand started shaking again, not from fear, but from anger so sharp it felt like it could cut. You're going to share pictures of me sleeping, I said slowly. You're going to blackmail me. He didn't deny it. He didn't even look guilty. He just said, you can make this easy. Or you can make it ugly. I felt like the room was shrinking. I needed air. I needed a plan. But my brain kept slamming into one thought. He had been doing things behind my back for longer than I knew. And he had prepared for me finding out. That meant he expected it. That meant he was not going to beg. He was not going to cry. He was going to manage me like a problem. My phone buzzed on the counter behind him. He glanced at it and smiled again. Speak of the devil. He picked it up and read the screen. Then he looked right at me. She's here, he said. My mouth went dry. Here where? He tilted his head toward the front door. Outside. I froze. He walked to the door and opened it like he was welcoming a guest. A woman stepped inside. She was younger than me. Not dramatically, but enough that it hit. She wore a long coat and carried a small bag. Her hair was pulled back tight. Her eyes went straight to mine like she had practiced this. Then she took a step forward and said, calm as anything, "Hi. I'm sorry this is happening like this." I stared at her. My chest was tight. "Who are you?" She swallowed. "I'm the one you think I am." My husband put a hand on her back, gentle. Familiar. It made me want to scream. Then she looked down, and I noticed her hand. She was holding something. A folder. She lifted it slightly like she wanted me to see it. "I didn't know at first," she said. "I swear. He told me you were separated. He told me you were basically roommates." My husband rolled his eyes. "Don't start with the guilt. Just show her." The woman's face tensed. She opened the folder and pulled out a stack of papers. I expected divorce forms. I expected a lease. Something like that. Instead, she held up a document with my name on it. A clinic letter. It was addressed to me. It had my doctor's name. It had a date from months ago. My mind went blank. I could not read it fast enough. Then I saw the words in the middle. Pregnancy test result. Positive. My heart stopped. I looked up at her, then at him, and my voice barely came out. "What is this?" My husband's expression didn't change. "Now you understand why I said you made it messy." The woman's eyes looked wet. "I didn't know he did that. I didn't know he took it from your mail." I stared at them both. My hands went numb. I wasn't pregnant now. I would know. I would feel it. But this letter was real. The clinic letterhead was real. My doctor's name was real. My husband leaned in like he was sharing a secret. "You never told me," he said. "You hid it." My mouth opened, but no sound came. "I found out anyway," he continued. "And I realized you would never give me what I needed. You kept me waiting. You kept me trapped." The woman looked at me like she wanted me to believe her. "He told me you got pregnant and ended it without telling him. He told me you didn't want a baby with him." My vision blurred. My stomach churned. I finally found my voice. "That's not true." My husband's eyes narrowed. "So you're saying the letter is fake?" "No," I said, shaking my head. "I'm saying I never saw it." Silence fell hard. The woman's face changed. She looked at him, not me. "You said she knew." He didn't look at her. He kept looking at me, like he was daring me to fight. Then the woman turned back to me, and her voice dropped. "If you never saw it," she said slowly, "then how did he know before I did?" And in that second, the plot shifted again, because I realized something I had not wanted to see. This was not just cheating. This was a plan. And I had been living inside it for months without knowing. My ears were ringing so loud I could barely hear my own breathing. The woman kept staring at my husband like she was waiting for him to laugh and say it was all a misunderstanding. He didn't. He just stood there with his hands still on her back, calm, like he was in control of the room. I took the clinic letter from her and read it again, slower. The date was 4 months ago. It was a follow-up summary after blood work. It said the pregnancy test was positive and that the clinic had tried to contact me to schedule an appointment. I whispered, "They tried to contact me." My husband's eyes narrowed. "Don't play dumb." "I'm not," I said, and my voice got steadier. "I never got this. I never got a call. I never got an email." The woman's face tightened. "What do you mean?" I turned the letter around and pointed at the contact info. "That's my old phone number. The one I changed last year." My husband's mouth twitched. Just a tiny movement. I felt it like a door opening in my head. "You updated my email rules. You used my identity for hotel bookings. You had access to my accounts. You could have changed contact details at the clinic too." He exhaled like I was annoying him. "You're reaching." I looked at the woman. "Did he ever tell you where this letter came from?" She hesitated. "He said it came in the mail. He said he found it in the drawer." I laughed once, sharp. In the drawer. The same drawer he keeps things he doesn't want me to see. My husband finally snapped. Enough. The woman stepped away from him for the first time. Her hand went to her stomach without thinking, like she was protecting herself. Did you lie to me? He looked at her, then back at me. You two can have your little moment. It doesn't change what's happening. It changes everything, I said. Because you just admitted you've been intercepting my medical information. He scoffed. I didn't admit anything. You didn't deny it, I said. He took a step toward me. Listen carefully. This ends the way I said it ends. No, I said. It ends the way I decide it ends. He stared at me. And what's that? I pulled my phone out of my pocket and held it up. I already forwarded the hotel emails to my personal backup account. And I already took screenshots of the email rule you set up. The one that filtered the hotel confirmations into spam. His eyes flicked to the woman, then back to me. You think that scares me? It should, I said. Because it's proof you used my name without my permission. The woman looked between us. What did you do? My husband's voice dropped, sharp. Stay out of it. She flinched. Then she looked at me. Is that true? He booked under your name. Yes, I said. 3 times. And he set a rule in my email to hide it. Her face drained of color. Why would you do that? He raised his voice. Because she would have gone crazy sooner. The woman's eyes got wet. So you used her identity. You lied to me. You lied to her. You lied about her ending a pregnancy. My husband's jaw clenched. I didn't lie about everything. That was when I realized he was still trying to manage the room. Still trying to keep both of us in his hands. I forced myself to breathe slow. Here's what's real, I said to the woman. I never knew about any pregnancy. I didn't end anything. And if there was a test, I want to know how the clinic had the wrong number and why I never got contacted. That letter doesn't prove I hid anything. It proves someone interfered. My husband laughed. You're going to call a clinic now and act like a detective. Yes, I said. And I'm going to call my lawyer. And my bank. And I'm going to lock my credit. Because you don't get to use my name and then threaten me when I notice. He took another step closer. Don't do this. I looked right at him. You already did it. He leaned in, voice low and dangerous. If you ruin my job, you ruin your own life too. You think you'll walk away clean. The woman's voice came out small. Stop. He ignored her. You'll regret it. I swallowed. My heart was pounding, but my mind was clear now. You know what I regret? I regret trusting you with my passwords. His eyes hardened. You're not leaving with anything. I walked to the counter where he had set his phone earlier. I didn't grab it. I didn't need to. I picked up my own keys instead. I'm leaving, I said. And you're both getting out of my house. My husband laughed like I was joking. No. This is my house too. Not right now, I said. He opened his mouth to argue, but the woman stepped forward and stood between us. I'm not staying, she said, trembling. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be part of this. He stared at her like she betrayed him. Are you kidding me? She shook her head. You told me she was separated. You told me she ended a pregnancy without telling you. You told me you were a good man who got screwed over. His face twisted. I am a good man. She flinched again. Good men don't do this. I watched him turn his anger toward her, and something clicked into place for me. This wasn't about love. It wasn't about mistakes. It was about control. He needed women who would believe his version of reality. I moved toward the hallway and grabbed my coat. My hands were still shaky, but I didn't stop. I walked to the front door and opened it. You can leave, I said to both of them. Or I can call the police and tell them you've been using my identity and threatening me. My husband took a step toward me, but the woman grabbed his arm. Don't, she whispered. Just don't. He yanked his arm free. You're taking her side now. I'm taking my side, she said. And my babies. That word hung in the air. My husband looked like he wanted to explode. Then he did something that made the final truth land so hard I almost couldn't stand. He pointed at me and said, Fine. You want the truth. The truth is I never wanted a baby with you. I just wanted you to feel guilty enough to shut up. My stomach dropped. The woman went still. What? He kept going, eyes locked on mine. That letter. The clinic. The number. All of it. I made it up. I needed a reason to justify leaving you. I needed you to look like the bad one. My mouth went dry. You forged it. He shrugged like it was nothing. I printed a template. I used your doctor's name. Who cares? The woman covered her mouth. Oh my God. And there it was. Not just cheating. Not just lies. A man who had been building a story where I was the villain, so he could cheat, get someone else pregnant, and walk away looking innocent. I felt something inside me go quiet. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just nodded once, like my body finally accepted what my mind had been refusing. "Get out," I said. He stared at me, breathing hard. The woman moved first. She walked out the door, still shaking, holding her bag tight. She didn't look back at him. She didn't look back at me. She just left. My husband stood there for a second longer, like he wanted to say something that would hurt me one last time. Then he grabbed his jacket and followed. I watched them go. When the door shut, the house felt too silent. I stood there with my hand still on the knob, staring at the wood like it might crack. Then I walked to my office, opened my laptop, and changed every password I owned. Email, bank, social media, everything. I called the bank and reported the hotel charges. I called the credit bureau and froze my credit. I called a lawyer and left a message that I needed an emergency consult about identity misuse and divorce. Then, last, I called my doctor's office. I asked them one question. "Have you ever sent me a letter about a positive pregnancy test?" The receptionist checked. She checked again. Then she said, "No. We have no record of that." I closed my eyes. When I opened them, I looked around my office, at the life I had built with a man who could fake my medical records like it was nothing. I picked up my phone and opened the photo album from my niece's birthday. I found the picture of him smiling with cake on his hand, holding my niece like he was safe. I deleted it. Then I blocked his number. And that was the end of it, because the final truth was simple and ugly. My husband didn't just cheat. He tried to erase me and replace me, and he only stopped because I caught him first.